Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Franchise Your Success. And we have Coach Dan in our studios today. How are you doing, Dan?
Oh, thank you. And thanks for referring to me, coach. I love that terminology. It's enduring. It's like when you're coaching somebody, it's a special relationship you have with that person you're coaching. Or when I've been coached, some of my best mentors in life are my coaches back in high school and college athletics. I still remember them as coach. What an honor it is to be called coach. And it's an honor for us and our team to be able to coach you through this process that you might be going through with franchising.
And we're super glad to have you as our coach and mentor and inspiration as well.
By the way, those are amazing shoes. I wish you guys could see all this. Marjorie is awesome. She's fast, but she's just.
I can also run in heels. That's the funny thing.
You can run.
I can
run in heels. She's one of the fastest ladies I've ever met. She holds records in her area and in some
back
of
the quick sprints. When I was
back in track. The day when she was doing track. She's speed. And you know what? One of the things about speed, and hopefully you know this, that money loves speed.
That's
right. In order to get the flow and the momentum going, we got to have some speed. So let's speed through this this session today. Let's give them some good tips.
And nothing better than one of the fastest investment strategies, which is franchises.
Yes.
So one of the things that we have to be aware of when you are owning a franchise is that you have to be the face of the brand, right? You got to represent your brand. So what does it mean to be the face of the franchise brand you are working with?
So if you're a franchisee, you've gone through the qualification process. They've vetted you, you've vetted them, you've agreed to become their partner. And so when you partner up with somebody, you want to show the brand name. When you're feeling good about it, they're feeling good about you. You want to show off that brand name. You want to be the brand champion. You want people to notice you that for what you are. And as you do that in your little area, and you're the brand champion, guess what? You got all these 100 others or 200 others over here and over here doing the same thing. You all are lifted together by being a brand champion, by making sure that that you're doing everything you can in a positive way to build that brand. It's all about branding. I mean, you think about branding, even though I don't know what brand those shoes are, but they're an amazing.
It's a secret brand.
It's a secret brand. You know what? We go and we buy shoes, we buy food because of the brand, right? Because we know that brand is providing what we want. We feel comfortable with that. So that's the same thing with the franchising. We're buying from that franchise because it's a brand. In fact, I'd be willing to bet that wonderful food that you guys brought in here today, the studio, from that franchise company, that most people probably, when you go to a franchise or you go to a business and you order food, most likely you probably order the same thing from that brand. And you go over here to this other brand, you probably order pretty much the same thing every time. Does that resonate at all?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Because you know the brand, you recognize them, and especially as a franchise owner, when you're representing that brand, you're also taking with you the quality of the service that you're providing in your own franchise.
Yeah.
It's kind of like brand pride, you know? You're like showing up for your team.
You're prideful of it. You're happy to be associated with it. Yeah.
And so we explained a little bit of what being the face of the brand means, but what are some of the duties that you as a franchise owner would do to make sure that you are showcasing your brand?
Well, it can be little simple things. And every franchise company should have some access to T-shirts and maybe pens and other little swag that helps you to develop that. So feel free, be free with that. Put your family in that. You'll wear it wherever you go. In fact, one of these particular food company brands that we work with, partnered with, whenever I see him, he's got his T-shirt on. It shows his brand on there, and he's got a different one. So wherever you go, people ask you about your brand. Oh, I saw that down there. What is that? Just wear it. And be proud to wear it because you're the franchisee, and there's a lot of different ways to do that. When you have children, you might want to look at what I used to do too, and I've seen a lot of people do this, is maybe it doesn't give the best return, but it helps support the brand and it helps build the community, and which will come back to you in other ways in business. But you go to your kids' high school football, or if they're a cheerleader or whatever they are, and usually there's signs on the field, there's signs on the basketball court that people have sponsored. So there's ways to get your name out and be proud of the brand, and every once in a while they'll come and have you promote and do things as part of the community. But I guess on a bigger level, besides the smaller things with the t-shirts or what hats or whatever, is be part of the community. Go volunteer for certain things. And of course, when you do, you're wearing your t-shirt or your hat or whatever, so that you can help expose the brand. But those are some of the bigger things you can do. But most of all, I would say the most important thing is the mindset. Is the franchisor is not going to be perfect. You're not going to agree with everything that they have. You've agreed with pretty much everything because you bought the franchise, but once you get involved with it, you also need to be able to promote that from within. And you got to think here, what can I do to promote it? So if that franchisor does something that maybe you don't quite agree with, or as long as it's not something bad, like something really unethical or dangerous or against the law, you don't want to support those types of things. But if they're making simple mistakes and they're making things that they're trying, try to turn that into the positive thing that you can, because it's only going to help not only you, but rather than be negative about the brand, be that brand ambassador, be that cheerleader. I mean, if your team's out on the field as a cheerleader and you're on a football field and you fumble, well, you're not going to stop cheering for them, right?
Right. You keep cheering them
You
up.
keep cheering them on, and maybe they still make a few more mistakes during the game. But I remember back. Okay, I'm going way back here now. When I played basketball in high school, and I caught up with this cheerleader later. I haven't seen her since high school, but I caught up with her on social media. And I told her, I thanked her, because I remember, now that this came about, is we were having a hard game one day in basketball. And I remember lining up on the free throw line. I was on the side lining up for the guy who was going to shoot the free throw. And I kind of glanced over, and there she was, and she was just a friend. And she smiled at me. That's all it took. And then I went out there and I just tore it up. Just that one little smile makes a difference. So in the world of franchising, that makes a difference too. When somebody's having a hard day, or franchise company's having a hard day, maybe you can be the brand champion to lift somebody by sending flowers or sending a nice email or a text thanking them for what they do. And being that brand champion, the more that positivity, the more the smiles you have collectively as a group of franchise, all the different things you do make a difference.
That's right. And I even saw, like a few years ago on the news, there was this city here in the States that had a little bit of a flood situation after a hurricane. But a food franchise decided to have all of their team members within that little branch to go and help out and volunteer to clean up the streets and clean up all of the areas that were damaged because of this disaster. And you could see them wearing their swag
the t-shirt, yeah.
with the t-shirt from the food franchise.
Yeah.
And it was amazing how they were giving that example to the community. And later on, when the situation improved on that little city, you could see how their all their profit that they were getting on that branch only just skyrocketed, because people were like, you believed in us, you helped us during times of need, now we're going to help you.
Exactly.
So we mentioned a little bit of the good things that we can do as a franchise owner, but what are some of the no-nos that you need to avoid when you're a franchise owner? Because then again, you're representing the brand. What are some of those things that we should avoid?
Well, the big things that are written in your agreement, almost every agreement, is once you start doing the bad things, like let's say you go bankrupt, or something, or you're unethical in some of your statements you make, they'll track that, but they'll always give you a warning so you can have a chance to correct the situation, because they don't want any bad thing attached to this major franchise company. So they will make sure that doesn't happen. So that's on the big side. But one of the no-nos you want to do, some of the no-nos you don't want to do as a franchisee, is just kind of what we were talking about. You don't want to be negative. I mean, sure, they're going to mess up. They will mess up, and they'll have a little difficult challenging times, but what can you do to turn it around? You think about, okay, they screwed up. And then what happens is franchisees get on email in and they're on some kind of chat room or whatever, they're chatting. Oh, did you see what happened today? All this. Are you going to participate in that? Are you going to help drive everything down? When you do that, you drive your business down. But as you start saying, hey, you know what? We'll get through this. Let's do this together. You band together as a team, just like the example we gave earlier, being on a team. You fumble, you recover, get back into it. They're going to fumble. So some of the bigger no-nos is just add to the positivity to the whole franchise system is probably the biggest thing.
Yeah, that's right. Just keeping a mind open, because then again, within a franchise, we're all human. We're going to make mistakes. But the cool thing is that the franchise, they always give you more opportunities to actually improve on what you're doing as a business owner. Nobody was born being a business owner, but they help you and train you along the way. So also, what are some other ideas that you have used in the past when you owned your franchises to represent and love and all the love that you had for your franchise?
So yeah, there's phases of franchise. And so you have to kind of sometimes go through those phases. And this, one of the stages is when you first sign on board as a new franchisee, there's maybe a little bit of nervousness. Did I make the right decision here? Oh, wow. And so that's when the franchisor should be providing all that love to you in the beginning to help make sure you feel good about it. But for the most part, people are excited for the first few months as they get things going and they're building it and everything. It's that there's always that time, that phase that a franchise goes through that is a little bit difficult. And whenever they make the decision before they come back out of it, and then everything's cool. And one of the biggest things that helps me when I've gone through those phases and I've seen other franchisees is you got to know that the franchisor has your best interest in heart, because otherwise they can't make money without you. They make money when you make money. So that's the nice thing about franchising. They need to support you because they're going to make more and more money. But what if you're not feeling that love? What if you're not feeling that support? So what do? What I've done is I go and I almost always, for myself personally, I can be lifted by studying what's going on. So I look at business strategies and I look at personal development programs. And for me, I like to read books. I probably read 60, 70 books a year. Physical books, underline them, throw the Post-it notes in, turn them down. I mean, they're all torn apart because I take it seriously. My education is what I call real education, the most successful education. That's what inspires me. Another thing that helps me is that I look at my spreadsheets and my analysis. In every franchise, you're going to have a business plan. You're going to have a financial plan. So what I do is I go back and I look at those numbers. Okay, if I'm on this trajectory, if I change this a little bit, I tweak this, this is where I'm going to be. Those numbers get me excited about moving forward. So I'm in the background doing some studies and doing things like that. And for you, it might be different. You might be wanting to listen to a podcast like this, or you might want to be listen to a book or some kind of article online, audios. A lot of people like audios. Whatever it is that inspires you, do that, because that's the time that you need to be inspired to move your business forward. You made a big decision. You're in an agreement that's going to last a few years. You know what? It's not the end of the world if you have some negative feelings about your franchise company. At one time, you had some great positive feelings. There's ways to bring those back. Don't throw in the towel because you could lose some significant money. It's time to step it up, and it really depends on you and how you recover quickly. And you know yourself better than anybody else. I'm just throwing a couple ideas about how I do it and seeing others do it.
And then again, I feel like franchises is kind of like dating at that point, because you're going to have your hard patches, some hard times every now and then, but you always have that mutual support. As long as you're being positive, also the franchisor is going to be super positive and is also going to be helping you drive your business all the way up, which is exactly what we want. Exactly. And do you get any opportunities like from being super positive and showing that pride for your franchise?
Do we get those opportunities?
Do you get any extra opportunities from the franchisor? Let's say that you are a franchisee and you are wearing your swag, you're doing marketing and everything. Does the franchisor give you any cool opportunities from doing that much effort?
You know, some of the better ones is they've built the franchise companies will offer those opportunities. So not only like the example you gave where they go in, pitch in and clean up or whatever, but the franchisor will have causes that they get behind. I remember certain franchise companies that would get behind a cause to prevent cancer or whatever it is. So the franchisees pitch in all around the country along with their employees and boost that worthwhile cause, and that helps to build the brand. I mean, it's amazing what happens when you go in it with the right heart and with the right attitude of we want to help. We're not doing this because we expect a financial return from it. That almost always is a side benefit and result of that, but you go in with the idea that you want to do the right thing and you want to help this particular cause. And so as a franchisee, I would suggest that you do it in your area. There's a cause going on in your community.
Go for it.
Go for it. Suggested the franchisor. They may pitch in some money and promotion to do it because then they'll come in and video it and use it for the rest of the country. So focusing on your area first if there's not something that's already out there from the franchisor.
That's right. Dan, again, thank you so much, Dan. And
Thank
it's
you.
so amazing how with franchises, you succeed, the franchise owner succeeds, and as well as your community succeeds. Thank you so much again, Dan.
Thank
and
you.
be the brand of your franchise. You can do it. See you on the next episode.
Thank you.